Yeah.
And the reason I have on the Batwoman today is because anytime that he's in distress,
Yes.
I'm always there.
Yes.
Anytime
Facts.
the military pulls him, I step up into that spot. So we've got to be ready as military spouses, as I know many of you are. You are being the superheroes behind closed doors, and I appreciate you and I thank you, and I'm so proud to be a part of
Absolutely.
the Military Spouse Association.
That is very lovely. What's up, everybody? I am excited to welcome you to this episode of Sip and Share. Sip and share. Sip and share. Sip and share. Let's go.
I messed them up. I knew it. I knew I was going to get you. I knew I was going to get you.
You didn't get me because I can't be got.
Yeah. What you got for us,
What
baby?
do I have? Listen, the reason I'm so excited to welcome you to this episode is because it gives me something to celebrate. I am celebrating Military Spouse Appreciation with some delicious peach Ciroc and
Georgia peach.
ginger ale. Good job, P. Diddy. How about you?
I mean, am I supposed to have something celebratory too?
Yes. Tell me what you're drinking, and we
Let
show.
me see. So this is a blind taste test. Do y'all think it's wine? Let's see. Or is it? It couldn't be. It's cranberry juice.
The juice.
Oh, I'm sorry, babe.
No, you know what?
It's military
It's your
spouse
day.
appreciation.
You do it how you want to do it. If you want to sip,
I want to
then
sip
toast,
and then I want toast.
it's whatever floats your boat. So listen, I just told you what we're talking about today, and I am honored to be sitting next to my Bat woman. Where'd you get this outfit?
Huh?
Where did you get this outfit?
It's not an outfit. It's just a shirt with a little cape on it.
Oh, it's got a cape?
little
Let me
cape.
see your cape.
Oh, shoot. It's right here. See, y'all? There go the cape. There go the cape. So today is Military Spouse Appreciation Day, and we want to acknowledge all of the military spouses out there for what you do to support your military members, whether they are retired or you are still active duty.
That's right.
We applaud you for what you do behind closed doors.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, those of you that are new to the show, I am in the military, active duty military, and my lovely bride has been there with me every single step of the way for my entire military career. And military spouses come in all forms and fashions today, you know, and in the old school way of thinking, military spouses used to look a certain way. They had to do certain things. They had to participate in certain things, all that kind of stuff. But we have transitioned well beyond that. And I will tell you as well, in some cases, we always see the military member wearing the uniform, standing on stage, getting promotions, whatever it may be. But the person that is behind the scenes is the one that is making it all happen, not just allowing it to happen, but making it all happen. And that's why I am very happy that there is a day to celebrate and acknowledge military spouses, because you all go through and tolerate a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so it used to be very difficult for me to take any type of appreciation regarding being a military spouse. You know, if you ever go to a military event, they might say spouses stand or something like that and try to recognize us. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not in the military, but it has
I used to be like, stand up,
yeah,
get up.
It has been 25 years worth of military now.
Deuce 5.
And so I understand it, and I see the role, not just that I play, but that other military spouses play in supporting their husbands, whether they're at home, deployed, or on a mission.
Yep, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Kicking this thing off, I am going to interview my lovely
Take a drink.
military spouse today. By the way, you're well beyond just being a military spouse. I need to say that. And that's for all of you. You're not just a military spouse. There's way more to you than just that title. You are the house manager, you're raising your kids, you're doing a whole lot of stuff. So even though that title is what we're talking about, we know that you're multifaceted and that you're way more than that. So I have to ask you, in terms of being a military spouse, what has been the most challenging part for you?
The most challenging part to being a military spouse probably came when I first started out. He was in the Marines at that time. He's no longer Marine now, Air Force. Air Force.
Careful.
So when you enter into being a military spouse, I think a lot of us probably, if you're like me, you probably didn't know what that entailed. We were young, and so I did not expect to be so home alone so much. Being in the Marines, he was either gone to the field, deployed, or working some type of shift where they have to guard,
right.
I don't know, just stand at the door of a building. And we had kids, so it was a lot to just be there alone and try to jumpstart a family. So that was probably the hardest part for me.
Being at home alone, especially if you're a young couple and you're somewhere in an area that you're not familiar with. You just moved from home. You're like 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. You moved away from home, and now your spouse is gone too. And now you're just there trying to figure out what you're going to do. So I can imagine that's got to be difficult. And people live that life all the time. I know you get sometimes when people say, hey, so he's going to be gone for 6 months? What? 6 months? What are you going to do?
I actually don't. If you are not a military spouse, then please stop hitting people with this whole thing of like, if they say, he has to deploy for a year. A year? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That
doesn't help.
It doesn't help at all. We're already trying to make those adjustments in our mind. Like, okay, they're gone for this time. I can make it through by doing this. This will be my midpoint.
Right.
So we're creating these plans in our heads to help us get through the time.
And then you get punched in the mouth by, oh my God.
Yeah. And I don't need to say if you're not a military spouse, because maybe other military spouses say it to another military spouse. But that is, be supportive and not, don't pull on, the amount of time that they're going to be separated from one another.
Well said.
Another question?
I have another question for you.
All right.
On the inverse, what has been the greatest part about being a military spouse?
The greatest part about being a military spouse has been the opportunity to see different parts of the United States. And for the most part, hey, we're not paying for the move from here to there. Yes, it is difficult to pick up and move. Matter of fact, we haven't even been in this particular place nothing but not even a year yet, and we're about ready to move for our third time.
Same place.
Same city.
Long story.
So here's the thing: you kind of learn how to live a lifestyle where it's easy to pick up and move. We have a storage to keep more of our memorabilia and the things that we need. They come with us. Well, not this time. We left our furniture, everything in a storage basically. But I guess the greatest thing, to get back to your answer, would just be able to see the places I've been to, even being able to just come over and see you in Qatar. That was an amazing experience to just visit a different country. And I think the military is definitely has afforded me as a military spouse to be able to do that.
Nice. Very well said. I've got questions galore, but this takes me to my next one, right? They say hindsight's 20/20, and that's just all parts of life, military related or not.
Yep.
As you stand today and you take a look back, what advice would you give to a young you as a military spouse right now? And I mean you.
A young me back then. I don't think I necessarily would give her any particular advice because, I kind of took it with my bootstraps, just kept it moving. I knew that the things that were happening in our lives were not in my control. So I just said, I'm going to be the best that I can be. And when he comes back, that's when our superpowers combine. I was never one to shy away from a situation to say, I got to go at it alone. So in a sense, it helped to protect some of the independence until I could further learn to truly be a wife that can lean on her husband. So starting out, it allowed me to grow into a dependency without just stripping it away with you being there all the time. But I will say for others that are the younger couples that are just starting out, you're the military
you just took
spouse.
my question, man.
You're the military spouse and you're just starting out, whether you're the man or the woman. You have to not think in the civilian way. So you have to understand, like, they can't help that they got to go to drill at this particular time. They can't help that they got to deploy. I think sometimes we may get angry that our birthdays are missed or Valentine's Day are missed or anniversaries are missed. So you really have to just hone in on understanding. Yeah.
That's something that you all are going to kind of think about. Some of you are going to meditate on that for a little bit. And I want to provide an opportunity for you right now because I think having that cross communication is extremely important. And as you've got your audience out there watching and or listening, if you were speaking on behalf of all military spouses right now, what would you say to the active duty members to help make sure that military spouses are heard and understood with some of the things they have to endure that we may not necessarily be privy to or even understand?
Yeah. So if I were speaking to active duty members. So to the people that are wearing the uniform, I would tell you to make sure that you are honoring whoever that is the person walking beside you in this journey. And that you would be as considerate as possible in including them in your military career. So don't do things haphazardly like, oh, we're going to move to Colorado and you haven't even invested any time and say, you know, what would you like to do? I'm thinking about these jobs. What area? You know, talk to them, communicate, let them be involved in what's going on with you so that it does come off like when you go to work, yeah, they see Henry Shooter Sims, but what they don't see is Tisha Sims is right in their suit too, you know? So I would say include your partner as much as possible so that way they don't feel some type of way about the moves, about the deployments, about you having to meet certain criteria of being at work this time or that work time or whatever, or not being able to attend a game for your kids or even the birth of your kids. Right?
I've missed one of those.
Yeah.
Inclusivity is extremely important. What I've always tried to do throughout my career is every single decision that I've made from a career perspective, I brought it home first, to the point where sometimes my bride would be like, I don't care, just do it. Because I'm like, well, we got this option here and we can go here. And if I do this and then in 3 years, boom, boom, boom. So, and it got to the point where it's just like, whatever you want to do, you know. But I was happy it got to that point because it was kind of like I've saturated her with it
only with some things.
Yeah, only with some things. Yeah. It got to the point where I saturated her with it to the point where it's like, at least I wasn't holding things back from you. You know what I mean? So I call that over communicate. I love to over communicate and just constantly just provide that information. And if they say I don't need it, that's enough. That is perfectly fine as well. So I really like that.
So I have one last piece of advice that I want to say to the active duty members. You wear your uniform at your job, but you don't wear it in the house.
That's right.
Don't come in with the colonel mentality in that house, because more than likely that spouse is the boss. So I always like to say, he's my exec in the house, right?
Yeah, that's a fact.
But I also want to say, don't wear it in the house, because we need to see who you are without the uniform.
I like that.
I don't want my husband to get to the point that one day he reaches retirement and he's like, who am I?
Right.
No. who are you should happen every single day.
That's right.
That you come into that house, you take off that uniform, and you can be that dad, that husband or wife, and be with your friends and enjoy. So live life outside of the military. And I will say as well, if you have military friends, I think a lot of spouses love it when we can go out and everything's not military talk.
Don't talk about shop. Don't talk shop.
Yeah,
when you're out having
don't
fun.
always talk shop. There's
Yeah.
time and place for that. But don't, and I used to hate it, y'all, with the acronyms. Oh my God, the BBY and the digital right.
The BBY.
You know, and we used to be going to these balls. It's supposed to be a time that you laugh, you dance, you have dinner, you know, wine, whatever. And then I would be standing there like, and yes, so the BBY, the general such and such, and the ACTY, and the ta. So for me, it was just like
those are not real.
Okay. So be a human. Just be a human. I think that any spouse, as long as you include them and you present the man or woman that they marry
Right.
every single day, they're gonna be kosher. They're gonna be cool.
Because I look at you as a seasoned senior military spouse now.
Nice way to say old.
So there's a bunch
veteran.
of future military spouses out there watching. There's a bunch of current military spouses, and there's a bunch of military spouses that can reflect on when their spouse was active duty, so on and so forth, that could all relate. And it's the commonality that we always have, which is deployment, because your spouse goes away, and while they are away, the spouse at home learns to cope and operate in the absence of the active duty military spouse. And in turn, the active duty military deployed spouse learns to cope and operate in the absence of being at home. And it brings us back to that culminating point of that person comes back home, right? What advice would you offer to one, the spouse, and two, the military member, to allow for that person to kind of reincorporate themselves into the household?
Yeah. So when you are deployed, you're living almost two separate lives, but technology has made it such a blessing today because we can pick up and FaceTime through Messenger or through all of these apps, right? So you're able to, for the most part, keep in touch with one another. And a lot of people think because we are keeping in touch and we're communicating that we ain't skipped a beat. Yes, you have. Because you are creating your own routines separately. For instance, when he's deployed, now he has to figure out what I'm going to eat and ironing and washing and grocery shopping and cleaning and all of the things he might get at home through me as his spouse. And then for me, I may have to say, well, you know, I don't have my best friend at home anymore. So what am I going to do? I'm going to start engaging with other people, right?
Right.
So you have to both learn to scale back into the life that you all had before, or maybe even now is more meaningful, right? But the thing about it is to allow each other some breathing time. Like, just take it. Like, as soon as they get home, you know, you're going to be in a rush for one thing. Go ahead. Do it.
What are we talking about? What is
Go
it?
ahead. Baby, I'm trying to keep going.
Oh,
so,
hugs,
you know,
hugs.
Yeah, go ahead. Take
Hug.
care of that first thing, you know.
Hug.
But after that, like, just allow some breathing time. Don't be saying, like, you know, the grass need cutting, you know this, you know this, you know this, you know this. Spouse, keep doing everything that you were doing like you were doing it.
Right.
You start watching and saying, how am I feeling? Where can I fill in? Where can I fill in? And as they start filling in, we relinquish it back to
There
them,
you
right?
go. That's beautiful. I will say the most challenging part of that probably for the person returning home is they're trying to make up for all the stuff they've missed. And they're trying to just like catch up. And, you know, at that point, you know, the spouse that's at home is kind of like, hey, whoa. We've been doing it like this kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
We're stepping out. It's like a tango, y'all. And
Yeah.
and a lot of times you're stepping on one another's foot. But so you gotta really just move in accordance with like, okay, I see the trash is full. She's not gonna say, and I know I'm exaggerating. I'm using those examples, and I'm not saying allow your deployed member to come back and do nothing. But deployed member, respect how they have formed the house, and spouse, respect that they got to find their way back into it. Otherwise, there's going to be some arguments, some stepping on toes, things like that you want to avoid. Yeah. And you have to also remember that whatever your deployed member was experiencing, they may need just a little bit of
decompression.
And as well, spouse, you need some decompression. It's a lot of adrenaline, he's coming back, he's coming back, or she's coming back, or whatever, right? And so you're like, boom, we're back together. Now what?
Yeah.
So, just allow things to just cool out, just allow them to just formulate themselves, and then y'all will start to mesh again.
I love it. So I will just say, from the active duty side of the house, Guard, Reserve, doesn't matter. From the military side of the house, I personally want to say thank you on behalf of all military members that are serving, to all the spouses out there that are supporting, guiding, leading, driving the members to be able to do what they do. So happy Military Spouse Day, and that's my message to the spouses.
Thank you, baby.
All right, y'all. Hopefully this was something that you all can benefit from. And until next time on
Sip and Share.
Sip and share. Sip.
Hey, next week we're coming back with the mental health information, y'all. So tune in next week. May is still Mental Health Awareness Month.
Right. Until next time, y'all.